Hey everyone, John here from the Deers Embroidery Legacy, and today's video is going to be just about digitizing an average design, which I get to do a few times a week. I did a live a few days ago where I mentioned that if people followed me around like some of the other influencers that I've seen in different communities, they'd probably be bored to death because it seems like it's emails and meetings and watching designs run and approving things and disapproving of other things and converting files, and the list goes on. But every once in a while I do get to digitize some designs, and I have a very small group of friends that I've known for decades that I still digitize their files for them commercially. And I kind of like that because it keeps me in touch with the real world. You know, digitizing is all about production-based designs that run smoothly on machines. So I want to make sure that even though I have a team of other people that help me with my digitizing, we keep our quality up, and that means I got to keep mine up as well. Anyways, this is going to be a different video. I'm just going to walk you through verbally and show you what I'm doing. Not going to be necessarily a lesson that you're going to interactively follow along, but if you do like it, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell and put a comment in there, because I don't know if this is going to be the first of many or the last. So anyways, it depends on how you guys react, but I will call this design up and we'll get started. Did you know that 90% of successful embroidery comes down to how well the design is made? If you're new and don't understand how designs actually work, you're going to keep messing up, wasting time, wasting thread, and ruining good fabric. That's why we made the 101 Digitizing course. It's free, it's fast, and it gives you the core theory every embroiderer needs. Okay, so I'll talk you through this one. Got my EL Digitizing software loaded and ready to go, and I'm just going to load in my backdrop. And this is the piece of artwork that my friend gave me. And just looking at the artwork, a couple questions that I had right away is, what's the application? They told me it was going to go on a finished hat, so I have to keep in mind that it's going to be a tubular, and that is of course going to dictate my recipes. Now, we do have a recipe that is called cap, and to be honest, the cap recipe is pretty much a open recipe. Reason why I didn't assign any special pull comp or underlay values or property, I mean, it's standard property values as far as density is concerned, and standard pull comp values as well. But all the others I've left open because I found that not all caps are created equal. I can have a 6-panel varsity hat that is form-fitting to a person's head that has no laminated buckram. There, I might need to make some adjustments with regards to, underlay, because I will need more stability. I can have another, whether it's 5 or 6 panel fitted hat that does have laminated buckram on it, and they can be a low rise, high rise, different things. The size of the hat will basically, be implemented. I do have my bottom up, center out rules that go on. And then you also have, trucker style hats, a one-piece front that has the nice laminated foam in the background, and that foam sinks in and tends to take edge run underlay and just have it kind of pop out the side of the stitches. So I chose with our cap recipe not to have any specialty things built in. I know that this is going to go basically on a varsity cap. I asked that, and it's going to also be 1.5 inches high. So it's not going to be a really big design. They're not trying to fill up the hat with a gigantic design. I think it's just going to be a little bit more low-keyed but visual. And this design is kind of set up for that. You have a little tuffle of grass. You have kind of a swirl here at the bottom that's going to be the land. And then I have the lettering here, which is an L. So it's going to obviously have some reference to the name of the company, and it's a landscaping company. So I think that it is a kind of a nice, easy logo that is going to be very visually identified, even though it's small. So all of that said, those are kind of the things that I'm looking for in a design. I'm looking for, the questions that I need to ask for embroidery first off, and then I'm looking at the design itself and seeing if it's balanced. Also seeing if the width of the stitches at a set scale are going to work. And the only way I can do that is by selecting the backdrop, going to my actual size, because right now it's a 2-inch design. I'm going to change it to 1.5. Going to hit enter, and I always on black artwork hit the opacity down so that it is lighter. Even if I weren't doing this as a video, I still set it up that way. I can see my center point is here and here, so this line is pretty much going down the center. And if I were to kind of look at this and start breaking it up, and I'll breaking it apart, I will probably do this side of the artwork first. I mean, I'm going to handle this grass first, and I am going to need to go in and kind of break it apart, because some people might go in and kind of do all of these pieces as one object and then just do it in with a fill stitch. You won't really get any definition that way. You'll add extra stitches. It's just not going to look overly clean. So I'm going to go in with my artwork tools. And this is one thing that I do love about our digitizing program, is we do have an artwork brush. So I can actually create things using artwork, change the color. So I'm going to use just red there. And I can start to kind of draw my objects and kind of, imagine how I might want this design to path. So I can draw in a line there, and I can draw in a line starting right here. So I know that that one's going to kind of cross over right there. And I might then say, well, this piece of grass is going to come over this way or go down this way. So I'm going to do this one here so that it is going to go over this way like this, and hit enter. And then this one, I'll come up here, and I'm just going to kind of draw in some little, pieces so that I kind of get this whole area defined. So here I'm going to come in, and I'll probably have this one going down this way, something like this. And let's just come in and hit enter. This one, I'll probably come in like this and have that one hit enter. This one, I might come in and do something like this right here and have it kind of cross over on that one. And let's just actually back that up. I can always backspace. If I'm going to put that one there, this one here, if I'm going to have this piece, I can kind of cross over to here and do that piece. And this one, I can kind of go over here and put my points down. So I've really just kind of created a few areas that are breaking apart so that I have a little bit of a reference and a guideline as to how I might want to tackle this. I can also come across with this line here and kind of do something like this so that I have an idea how this object right here, and I can continue drawing that line if I want, is going to kind of line up to this object right here. So that's going to define that piece, and it's going to separate these. I might come up here and draw a line from here, hit that shift key, go all the way across so I have a solid line there. I could do the same thing right here, and I'll go all the way across and put that one to there. Oops, got to do it one more time. Let's hit that shift, go all the way to here, hit enter. So now I have some lines kind of drawn in so that I have a foundational base for my artwork. And this little bit of prep work is going to really help me as I move through all of the objects in this design. Now, I'd just like to mention a couple things, actually 3 to be exact. To learn how to digitize properly or to create quality designs on your embroidery machine, you need good software, you need to have good theory and education, and you need to have a really good supportive community to bring them all together. An embroidery machine does help as well. But that's where we do excel. If you're looking for a software program and if you're looking for some foundational education, I strongly suggest that you take part in our digitizing workshop that's coming up. It allows you to interactively play with the software and create designs and see if this is for you, or learn more about theory so that you'll be a better embroiderer. So hopefully we'll see you at the next workshop. Let's go and start doing these little pieces. I'm probably going to start right here with this one and work my way this way because I'm kind of working myself inside out. So this will be my first object. I'm going to change the color to a light green. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to either my classic satin or my satin. I'll try the classic first, and I'm just going to put in a point kind of going here, and I'm going to overstitch this right to this point here and then continue on just like that. So if I look at this now in 3D, there is my first object. And then if I do my next object, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to do the same thing and put in my stitches kind of like this. and I'm going to overstitch that one to there. So there's my next object. Then if I look at this, I'll probably go to a run stitch. I'm going to go from this point up to this point right here, so that I travel from here to here. I can see the little scissors are there, and then I'm going to continue. And if you look, the first couple little points that I'm going to put in, and actually I'm in run now, so I'm going to escape from there and go to my classic satin. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of an offset, so I'm angling my stitches just so that I have a little bit of a point. You have to remember that right now I am at 560%, so there's my 6:1. That's what I would normally digitize at. So if I looked at this at a 1:1 scale, I mean, this is a pretty tiny design. So I'm going to go back to the 6:1 scale, and I can see that the next object that I'm probably going to do is this one right here. Because we have, join closest point, we built in so much automation to our program. We have smart join, auto trim, auto lock. We have our anchor points that we have automatically set up. I can just come in here and do this point again, kind of giving some different direction to the stitches. This one I'm going to overstitch a little bit. This one's going to come straight in. There's that piece. And then here's this piece right here. And I'll just continue again to go all the way to this point right here and hit enter. And then I'm probably going to hit that number 1 for the run and travel to this point right here. So I'm traveling up because I want to do this one next. Go back to my classic satin, and I'm just going to again kind of angle my stitches a little bit because this is in reality pretty small. I want to make sure that I have nice angles. This I know I don't need to run into it because it is going to touch closest point. And I'm just going to continue on this path and do something like this, and then continue to this one right here and do this piece, and then continue on this one right here, again changing the angle of these and doing this piece. So there's all of my little blades of grass, and I think that's going to look a little better. I'm going to go back to a run stitch, and I am going to travel right now to this object right here because I want this to be underneath. So I'm going to come in at this point here before I move up, and I'm going to, because it's always a bottom up rule, I'm going to go back to my classic satin, and I'm going to overstitch into this, just overstitch like this into here and to here, and hit that as an enter point. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come onto this side, and I'm going to come right over to here, and I'm going to then hit my classic satin again, and I'm going to overstitch these values, and I'm going to do this little piece right here. Now that piece is done, go back to a run stitch, and I'm going to do this piece right here and do essentially the same thing. This time I'm going to go from my classic satin to my regular satin because I can just come here and do this point and take this point right up to about here, come across the other side, back down, and I'm just going to follow this point, overstitch it a little bit, hit enter, put in my stitch directions, enter and enter, and that piece is done. And then all I'm going to do is take this piece and travel back. So kind of, I did the inside out on that way, inside out on this way. I'm going to go back to my classic satin. So I could use either. I could use my satin or my classic. So let's turn off the 3D just for a second. And I'm going to do this point from here to here, right to here, and then go to here, come in, turn this straight, come all the way to this point right here, come right to here, 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 curve, curve, straight, go straight to this point, hit enter, make sure my inclination points are actually turning, so I have a nice smooth turn, going into a straight point to here, going into a straight point to here, and now that one is done. Turn on my 3D. I can see all these pieces are done. I'm going to go back to my classic satin now, and I'm just going to do the same thing. Let's move my widget out of the way. I'm kind of turning these stitches, and I'm going to kind of create a little bit of an angle here to try to create some some movement, because this is sort of the piece of the earth, that earth that's moving there. That one's done, and then I can just continue on this way right here. Again, point, counterpoint, come right to here, go straight and straight, which is 2 left clicks, come up to the top. If I hit the shift key, it'll give me a perfectly vertical line, and then I can go back to my right clicks to create my point, 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 and point. And now that one's done there. So there I have that. Go back to my number 1, which is my run. And I'm just going to grab that one there. And now I'm going to come down here, do the exact same thing. This time I'm going to go and use my number 3, which is my regular satin. I'm just going to draw one side, put a point right here, come all the way up to the top, hit that shift key because that'll give me a perfectly straight point, and then right click for curve, straight, 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 curve, curve, straight, come all the way down. Let's hit that shift, and that'll give me a straight point, and then curve, curve, and one final point there. Hit enter, inclination, going to turn this nice and smoothly, hit that space bar, and then turn this one here all the way to the top. So I get to that point right there, hit enter, and now I just have one more little piece to go. So I just have to do this piece here to here to here, back, back, back to here, here, and here. I mean, it's super, super easy. Hit enter, inclination right there, inclination, inclination point, and enter, enter, and it is done. Now, if I look at this, I might just want to grab that last object. I'm going to hit the Q key, and I'm going to move the stop position in a little bit so that it stopped not at the very end. But this design is now pretty much done. So it really didn't take long. I mean, we're talking a few minutes to kind of lay out the design, do the design, edit the design. I'm going to turn off my 3D now. I'm going to hide my artwork. So it's going to deselect my backdrop. So let's just hide that for a second. I can either move the opacity all the way down, or I could delete it, but I'm going to then go into my colors here, my sequence, and all of those original lines that I drew as my guidelines, I'm just going to delete those out of the way completely. And then I'm going to grab all those objects. Let's make that a darker green just so that you can really see kind of what I've done here. So there's all my objects. Now, at this point, all I have to do is go to my properties, and if I'm going to add anything, because I know this is going to go on a finished hat, and I don't really want to have any, as far as my commands are concerned for my underlay, I just want to have a little bit of zigzag underlay in there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to, while it's all selected, make sure that I unselect my run paths. So anything that says run, I'm going to just click off of it. And this you can kind of do as you go along, or you could actually do it from the beginning. If I would have saved this in my properties from the beginning, I wouldn't have to do this. It would automatically add the right underlay, which now I can see come up. And if you choose your underlay, like right now I'll choose a parallel underlay, I can see I have a little bit of a zigzag where it gets wider. And that's really what I'm just looking for the type of cap that I'm working on. So this design is 1991 stitches. It's really not a high stitch count. It's 1.5 inches high. I did, as far as the structure is concerned, when I look at this on screen, and then let's just bring this up, and I will do a redraw so you can see it. But it is going to start right there. It's going to end up going down, and it's going to start to do all of the little pieces, and I'll just zoom this up a little bit so we can get it going a little faster. But it is doing all of these as separate objects. I'm not having any hard stitches in this. It should all work out just fine. And then as I continue on, I finished everything from the bottom, and then I started working from the bottom up. Came across, did that one from the bottom up, always moving my design in one direction, and then I'm done. So this is a little, I guess, day in the life of John. In the last 10 minutes, I would get a design like this in, just crank it out really quickly and save it, send it off to my friend, and then get off to my next task, which isn't as much fun as this. I actually have some emails I have to answer. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time. But remember, theory is 90% of it. I mean, having a great program is a huge asset. I love how quickly I'm able to digitize with our EL Digitizer now. We have kind of built it from the ground up for speed and quality. But the theory and the knowledge, that is the part that you need to make any software program work. So that's something that we try to assist you guys with to the best of our ability. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and make sure you follow us the next video.